Hello, everyone, and welcome to Paper Dice Games Night. Tonight we're going to be playing Dwarf Mine. This is a game that I designed. It's available on paperdicegames.com. And that's all we're going to be going through tonight. It's going to be a relatively short one. Dwarf Mine. As you can see, if you're watching this stream on the video feed, you're going to start with two sheets. The first is a Dwarf Mine sheet, and the second is the Dwarf Mine Mountainscape, where you'll be drawing the mine itself. Now, just to describe these a little bit, the Dwarf Mine sheet is kind of like a character sheet for the mine that you'll be creating. You can see on the top here, there's the mine name and the dwarf leader. You have resource tracking and gold, ore, and other resources. You have some statistics that matter in mine age, attack die, and mine level. Total population and mine prestige are there as well. And then, of course, on the second half here is the mine history. Over on the Dwarf Mine Mountainscape, we have what the mountain looks like without any mine built in it, and we'll be building that mine soon enough. Starting with the Dwarf Mine, I will fill out some of this information as I go through. The mine name that I'm going to choose is, we will go with Hulda's Hold. So it'd be the leader dwarf name is Hulda, and this mine is going to be her hold. Now, every dwarf mine starts with a total population of 20, as well as gold of 20, and a mine age of 1, and a mine level of 1, and an attack die of D4. And I believe that covers all the different things to start the mine. Now I'm going to be using some of the optional rules here for Dwarf Mine, and the first is mountain creation. And so what mountain creation does at the beginning of a game of Dwarf Mine is it allows you to roll for caves. And what caves do is they remove space, that usable space from the mountain. So your mine has to maneuver around the caves. It cannot be adjacent to the caves. The trade-off, though, is that you will also have a mountain treasure here somewhere in level 4. And so having less space to maneuver is the negative, but the positive is if you get to the treasure, you get a quite a large payoff. Now, I'm also going to be doing some testing rules. As I was playtesting this earlier, I realized that some of the small cave or some of the caves that you build end up taking a little bit longer to roll than I want. And so I'm just going to subtract one from each cave type, small, medium, large, and gargantuan, to determine if it's just a little bit easier and faster to roll for caves when you have less rolls overall. Drops my die on the ground, I'll grab that. And so to get started, I'll just hold my 2d4 about 5 inches above the map, drop them, and I have my two caves ready. The first is a small cave right here, and the second one is a gargantuan cave right here. So starting with the small cave, it is in the mine level 2 section of my mountain so far. I'm going to make normally again it would be 3 rolls for small caves, but because I'm testing out these rules, it'll be 2 rolls. And the first is downwards, so we're going to go downwards 1, and the second one and last one for the small cave is downwards again. So another 2. So my small cave here is right there in the mountain. Now I have a gargantuan cave here in level 3, so I'll roll where we're going to be going there. So we're going to be going to the left 1. Second roll is down. I should have done that. That's okay. Third roll is down again, actually. So we'll go down again. The fourth roll. Oop, that should have been a 2, excuse me. And then the fourth roll is up 3, 1, 2, 3, and then the last roll is 4, and that is down. So actually this gargantuan cave didn't end up that big. It overlapped quite a bit. And we end up kind of with an upturned L shape there. 2 more here, caves for the mountain. All right, we have a large cave starting here. And I'll have to reroll this one because it is falling off the paper, and another large cave here. So I'll start with large cave in level 3 right here. I'll roll my dice. It is going to go up 1 square, down 2 squares, and then to the left another 3 squares. And my final cave is another large cave. It's going to go up 1 square. It's going to go to the left 2 squares, which is actually off the map. And it's going to go back to the right 3 squares, making a T shape. Okay, so at this point I have rolled the caves for my mine. Just a quick playtesting note here. Part of the design of the caves is to have the ability to have these large sprawling caves, or potentially, if they overlap, kind of these smaller unusable, or not unusable, these smaller caves that are just not as not as expansive within your mine. And in this case, with one less roll for each cave, it was a little bit faster for creating the caves. But I'm looking at my mine right now, and there's just not a lot of cave action there. And so I may keep it as it is. I'll do a few more playtests. But the last thing here is rolling for mountain treasure. So I'm going to take my D6. I'm going to hold it over the mine level 4 area and drop it. I will drop it again to make sure it lands where it's supposed to. It's falling off. There we go. So I got a 1 right here, and a 1 is 4d4 gold. So once I get to the treasure, I will be able to access 44 gold when I am able to reach that part. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get started with Dwarf Mine. So one of the things I like to do when I play is I always put out the start of the history here in Mine History Year 1. And I like to say mine started, first ground struck, or something like that. All right. So the first part in Dwarf Mine is to figure out where you want to build, what you want to do on your turn. You can dig hallways and ladders, as many or as few as you want. Those are all free. You can also build rooms if you have the gold for it, and starting with 20 gold, I certainly have the gold for it. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick the highest point here in the mountain. I'm going to dig my way downwards, and I'm going to build a hovel off to the right here. The hovel's 3 by 3, so I'm going to make sure I have enough space here for a hovel. I'm going to have to turn this into a barracks, actually. I didn't have enough space for a hovel there. That's okay. So I have created a barracks right there, and we're going to just call this the armory. So I have a barracks there, and a barracks moves my attack die up 1, so I now have an attack die of d6, and it costs me 4 gold, so I am now down to 16 gold. Not done yet, because I certainly do want a hovel somewhere in my mine, preferably on level 1 still, as I don't want to jump to level 2 yet. So I'm going to go down here and build it all the way over here. I'm going to put it all the way against this side of my usable space here. So I am going to finish building that hallway. I have my hovel built. Hovels cost 3 gold, so now I'm down to 13 gold. And I'm going to call my hovel East Point. Yeah, that sounds good. We'll use cardinal directions here. And let's see here. I think that's a good start for now. One of the things, by the way, as I'm going through this, if I wasn't streaming, I would probably take the time to do some cross-hatching, identifying where I can no longer build, since there needs to be 1 square in between all hallways, rooms, caves, things like that. And so my cross-hatching is usually pretty quick and pretty simple. All I'm doing is drawing 3 or 4 lines per square that right outside the rooms or hallways that I've built, so that it's quite easy to see what you can no longer build into. It does take a little bit more time when you're playing, but I do find that it's a little bit easier to think when I am cross-hatching a little bit around each of these spaces. I'm not going to do it because I'm on stream and being recorded today. It would end up just taking too long, but that's what it can look like if you're looking at your at this feed right now. All right, so I'm going to say that's the end of my first turn here. I have one I have the armory, which is a barracks, getting my attack die up to a d6, and then I have a hovel, which I called East Point, and that gets my population actually up to 21 because I can get that benefit right away. So already East Point is paying off. Now we're going to move on to the treasure and combat rolls for this phase. For this, I'm going to take a d8 and add my mine age. So for this first round, I'm going to add 1 because my mine age is at 1. So d8 plus 1, it's a 4, and that means that I have mined 3 gold and 1 ore. So my gold jumps up to 16, and I now have 1 ore, so that makes me want to consider buying an ore forge maybe next turn. And then the second thing that I'm going to be doing is rolling a combat roll here. A combat roll is again a d8 plus the mine age, and I rolled a 7, so plus 1 is 8. So that means that my mine is attacked by a dire wolf. So dire wolves have 4 health and a 1d6 attack. My health is 21, my total population, and my attack is d6 as well because of the armory, which again is a barracks. So I'm going to roll mine first. I deal 5 to the wolf, which is enough to kill it, which is really, really nice. However, in Dwarf Mine, attacks are simultaneous, so the dire wolf's going to attack my mine as well, and that's a 6. Takes out 6 of my dwarves, putting my population down to 15. Ouch, that is a painful direwolf attack, but I'm successful and victorious, and my mine lives to see a mine age of 2. So I'm going to move up my mine age of 2. There are no persistent events, so I'm going to start my second turn here, and I am just going to record a little bit of mine history. Dire wolf attacked, and then East Point. And the armory formed. Good. And so, moving back to my mine, I get to decide where I'm going to be building. I think at this point I'm actually going to go down into the second mine level, and I'm going to build an ore forge. I have ore, which allows me to add 1 to the result of my attack die, and that can be helpful to kill enemies faster and avoid a second round of combat if possible. So I'm going to build it probably out here. Let's see, I want to make sure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, I'll build it right out here. And this is also helpful, I find, using dots to just kind of identify where you want to build before you do. Also, using pencil to build is important, as I'm using pen just so it shows up easier on camera here. But when I play not on camera, I use pencil, and I end up doing a lot of erasing. And so the ore forge is here. I'm going to call this Mountain Forge, this room Mountain Forge. Could have thought of a maybe more creative name. I think that'll work though. And ore forges cost 6 gold. So I'm down to 10 gold here. I do get the benefit of my, well, I'll do that in a second actually. I might want to build, yeah, I'm going to build another hovel, and I'm actually going to put this one underneath East Point. So we're going to go here. And I'm actually going to bring a ladder right down to it here. And I'm going to call this hovel Deep Sleep. I'm not sure if that's ominous or cheeky, but that's going to work. Another hovel is going to cost me 4 gold. I am now down to 6 gold, so I'll probably stop building there for this time. But what that hovel does, what Deep Sleep and East Point do, is they allow me to add 2 more to my mine population, so I'm up to 17 total population for my mine. And I'm going to be able to move on to the next phases of treasure and combat. So I'll roll for treasure first. I'm now mine age 2, so I'm going to roll my d8 plus 2. I got a 6, so that's 8, so I've mined 4 gold. So that brings me back up to 10 gold. And the combat roll is a 5. So 5 plus 2 is 7. Ooh, a Goblin Tunneling Party. So Goblin Tunneling Parties have 4 health and 1d4 attack. I have 17 health, my total population, and d6 attack. So I'm going to roll my attack first. It's a 5, so I'm able to kill the goblins without needing to use any ore. The goblins are going to roll, and they roll a 3. Ouch. So I take 3 dwarves are lost in my mine. I'm down to 14 population, but I'm able to beat the goblins. And that brings me to the next round. I now have a mine age of 3. I'm going to fill out my mine history here. Sometimes when I play, I just kind of want to get a quick game in, and so I'll do what I'm doing now and just kind of identify the main points of the round. In this case, I'm just saying goblins attack and deep sleep and mountain forge created. However, sometimes I really kind of treat this more like a role-playing game, and I like to get into it a little bit more, and I use the mine history a little bit more like a journal rather than a specific, just like a bulleted list of different things that may be occurring. So we're on to mine age 3 here. It's my 3rd turn, so I get to decide what to build and where. I have 10 gold, and I'm looking at my rooms list here. There's a number of bigger rooms that I could do. I don't think I want to push to those yet. I think I would like to do another hovel here on this 2nd level, and I kind of want it to branch off of this first one. So I'm going to build one right here. 1, 2, 3. That works. And I'm going to call this one Twin Side, because it is right next to Deep Sleep. It's across the hall, if you will. And I think that's going to work right there. And then that's going to be able to raise my population by 3, because I have East Point, Twin Side, and Deep Sleep. So I'm now up to 17 population. And that cost 4 gold. So once again, I'm down to 6 gold. And I think I'll stop there for the turn. Moving on to the treasure roll, I roll a 5 plus 3 is 8, so I get 4 more gold. Continue hovering around the 10 gold range. And for the combat roll, I rolled an 8 plus 3 is 11. It's another direwolf. So I have 1d6 attack for the direwolf. They have 4 health. I rolled a 1. That's too bad. So I'm just going to keep that there. The direwolf's going to attack, and the direwolf rolled a 6. That is not good for me. So we'll go into the 2nd round of combat. I rolled a 3, so that is 4 total that I've done. 1 in the 1st round, 3 in the 2nd round, and that will end up killing the direwolf. But attacks are simultaneous, and the direwolf rolled a 3, which brings my total population down to an 8, which is dangerous. We're in the danger zone here. I might have to push more hovels out. Now, I did recognize one thing here that I've been rolling on the mine level 1 sheet, but since I built Mountain Forge during the 2nd round, we should actually be at mine level 2. So I'll fix that for the next turn. So in the 3rd year of Hulda's Hold, I created Twinside and got absolutely wrecked by a direwolf. Alright, so we add 1 to our mine age. It is now the 4th turn. I'll actually change over to mine level 2. Now, as we're going through this, I think it is important to recognize that the goal of the game here is to earn mine prestige, and you can earn mine prestige in a few ways. The first is anytime you get to a persistent monster, which we may be getting too soon, you can earn prestige based on whatever that monster's health is. So I'm looking at the mine level 2 chart right now, and the cave troll, who is persistent here for mine level 2, has 8 health. So if I do end up fighting the cave troll and defeating it, I would earn 8 prestige. Another way to earn prestige is from a number of different rooms. If you end up finding a gem, you can create a gem cutting room and turn that gem into prestige. A mithril forge can turn mithril into prestige. You can make a prestige room, which basically is a room that gives you a certain amount of prestige. Tombs can based on the amount of dwarves that have died, give you prestige, and sculpture room can convert ore into prestige, and a trading post can convert gold into ore into gold, excuse me, that's not prestige. So there's a number of different ways to get prestige, but it's important to keep in mind that prestige is the name of the game. It's kind of the high score for this game. And as I'm going through and trying to figure out where I want my mine to go, what rooms I want, it's important to recognize that the prestige is the main focus, because like all mines, uh, your mine is probably going to fall at some point, and making sure that you have enough prestige is important. Of course, lasting long enough to get a lot of prestige is also important. And I'm trying to find here on level 3, or I'm sorry, mine level 2, where another good place for a hovel would be. Normally, I'd have enough space here on the left-hand side. There is a cave there that I drew up, and I don't see enough space anywhere else for um, for a place to build a hovel. So I'm going to have to go down to level 3 here, and I think I'm just going to continue down in this main pipeline in the middle, and I'm going to branch to the left and build a hovel there. So that'll be 1, 2, 3. Whoops, yeah, I totally drew that wrong. That's just the way it is sometimes, I guess. We'll just make my hallway here. There we go. That works. Wasted a little bit of space there. I think it'll be okay. And we're going to call this cave side because it's near a cave. And that is another 4 gold. So I'm down to 6 gold. However, now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 rooms. And 4 hovels, excuse me. So that brings me up to 12 total population. But I'm also on to mine level 3. With 6 gold left, I think I'm going to make 1 more barracks because I'm on mine level 3, and I believe making sure I have the power necessary to beat anything that comes my way is pretty important. So we're going to go ahead and build a hovel right here. We'll go like this. So this hovel's up near the top, or I'm sorry, this barracks is up near the top, which is good. And we're going to call this the Green Armory. So now I have 2 barracks, the Armory and the Green Armory. So that brings our attack die up to D8. That brings me down to 3 gold. I still have an ore. We're on mine level 3, and 12 total population. So let's see what happens here in the treasure and combat rolls. For the treasure roll, I roll a 1 plus 4 is 5, so I mined 1 mithril and 5 gold. I'm not going to have enough gold to build a mithril forge, but that's worth looking into. And for the combat roll, I rolled a 7 plus 4 is 11. First time I'm seeing the stone folk, or Hilda is seeing the stone folk. So stone folk have 8 health, 1d6 attack, and if a 6 is rolled on the attack, damage cannot be dealt to them this turn. So that sounds fun. Alright, so I'll roll my attack first. That's a 7. So I'm going to be eyeing that ore here. If they don't roll a 6, I will be using that to end the combat this turn. They have 6 attack, and they rolled a 4. So I'm going to use my ore, bringing my attack up to 8, ending the stone folk, and they deal 4 to me, bringing my population back down to 8. So in the 4th age, I created cave side and the green armory, and I fought stone folk for the first time. So that brings us to mine age 5. I have a total of 8 gold. And I think let's see, how many hovels do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4. It makes the most sense to get another hovel here. I have the space, I probably need it. So I'm going to make another hovel underneath twin side, and it's going to be moving on from there. And I will call this Tri-City, because now there's 3 in that same area. So I'll take the benefits of all my hovels: East Point, Twin Side, Deep Sleep, Tri-City, and Cave Side. That brings me up to 13 population. I'm down to 4 gold. My attack die is still at D8, and I have mithril, which I'm excited to be using at some point here. Move on to the treasure roll. First roll is a 6 plus my mine image 5 is 11, which means I have mined 1d12 gold, and that's a 3. I was hoping I could get my mithril forge next turn. My combat roll is also a 6, which brings me to 11, and it looks like it's stone folk again. That is not exciting. Alright, so I'll make my attack roll 6, and they make their attack roll 1. Alright, I'll make my second attack roll, which is 6 again, so they'll be done as long as they don't roll a 6, and they don't. 2 1s for them. So my population drops to 11, and my mine age increases to 6. So in the 5th age, I created Tri-City and more stone folk. Alright, so I'm at 7 gold here. I have 5 hovels, and my attack die is D8. I think I want one more barracks here as I kind of build out. My level 3 is a little bit more dangerous, so I'm actually going to put this next to the green armory up near the top of my mine, and I'm going to build this out, and I'm going to call this the Western Trials. That's going to be more of the area where the dwarves go for more tournament style training rather than just the fun training. That costs 3 gold, bringing my gold back down to 4, and my attack die goes up to a D10, which may be necessary. Moving on to the treasure roll, I rolled a 7 plus 6 is 13, so I get 1d12 gold and 1d4 ore. That's more like it, so that is 7 gold, so brings me up to 11, and 3 ore, which is going to be useful. For the combat roll, it is a 4 plus 6 is 10, which are root walkers. First time seeing root walkers here. Alright, so root walkers have 4 health, 1d6 is attack, and if a 6 is rolled on the attack, they gain 1d4 health, or in other words, they are calling more root walkers to join the fight. So I will make my combat roll, which is a d10, which is an 8, which should end up killing them this turn, because they have 4 health. They have a 1d6 attack, and they rolled a 6. So I lose 6. You know what? Now that I'm backtracking, I think I might have forgotten to add my population from last time. So I'm at 16 population, but they took away 6 there, and it called 1d4 root walkers back, but I believe, yep, I rolled 8 damage, so that's actually going to end up killing them anyways, and I take 6 dwarves out of my population. So I'm down to 10 population, 11 gold, 3 ore, 1 mithril, and on turn 6 I created my Western Trials barracks, as well as fought root walkers for the first time. Now into mine age 7 here. I don't know, I do have enough to make a mithril forge. I'm probably going to just break down and do that. And I'm also going to add my population before I forget, like I did last time. So I'm now at 15 population here. I'm going to make my mithril forge, and I think I'm just going to make it right in the middle of everything. So this is 1 square on the top, then 3 squares, then 5 squares, then 7 squares. That works. And I'll draw this out into my mine. And a good name for the mithril forge is... that's a good one. Hulda's Heart. After all, she's a dwarf, and this is what she's after. Just like, I don't know, I would assume all dwarves, right? Not sure how to draw this in. I'll just draw it like this. Got 2 doors there. Alright, so Hulda's Heart is my mithril forge. Now what this does is this gives me the opportunity to do something with that mithril I have. So I'll read off the options here. I can pay, and I'm not going to be able to do this turn, it looks like, because mithril costs 10 gold, so I'm down to 1, and I can pay 5 gold to turn mithril into one of the following. So I could turn that piece of mithril I found into 20 prestige, or I can turn it into 1 defense in combat, and that just means I remove 1 damage from any attack I receive, or I can permanently add 1 to the result of all attack die rolls I make. It feels to me like right now 20 prestige is pretty good, but I'm not going to be able to decide this turn because I don't have the gold to work the mithril, so we'll find out next turn. Moving on to the treasure roll. I roll my d8. I rolled a 7 plus 7 is 14, so I get 1 gemstone and 7 gold, so that brings me up to 8 gold. And for combat, I rolled a 6 plus 7, or 6 plus 7 is 13. 13, getting real close to that cave worm, are some more root walkers. Ooh, nope, this is a root walker hive. So a root walker hive works like the root walkers, except they have 8 health, 1d6 attack, and if a 6 is rolled on attack, they gain 1d8 health. So I'm going to roll first here. With my d10, I rolled a 4. It's not great. And the root walkers roll a 5 on their attack, so that brings me down to 10 population, and the root walkers are down to 4 health. I'll go to round 2. I rolled a 10, which is really nice. And the root walkers rolled a 4. Yikes. So I'm down to 6 population here, but I did defeat the root walker hive, which is scary. So in turn 7, I created Hulda's heart and fought a root walker hive. Turn 7, moving on to turn 8 then. So what I'm going to do first here is I'm going to pay that 5 gold for the mithril. I'll get rid of that and I'll give myself 20 prestige. I probably need to start getting some prestige as I go through here because my mine's not looking so hot. I'll add my mine population. I'm back up to 11, and that leaves me with 3 gold, and that's just enough for another barracks, which I think I really need. So I am going to make another barracks over here, west of the Western Trials, and I'm going to make it vertical, and I am going to call it Vertical Trials. So those are more like climbing combat barracks. So that brings my attack die up to a d12, and I think I'm going to move on to my treasure roll. Mine age is 8. I rolled a 5, that's 13, so I get 1d12 gold and 1d4 ore. That's 2 gold and 1 ore. That is a weak roll. And for combat, I rolled an 8, so 8 plus 8 is 16, and that brings me to the cave worm. Alright. Now, the cave worm is a special type of monster. It is a excuse me, it is a persistent monster. So the cave worm has 10 health and 1d10 attack, but it has a special ability. It only attacks once. If the cave worm is alive after the attack, it tunnels away, starting at any square adjacent to below the deepest point of my mine, which would be somewhere in Hilda's heart. And then it will tunnel away, and I roll d8 to determine where it actually ends up tunneling, and any squares that this thing moves through will destroy that part of the mountain, which is really unfortunate because it makes up less space for me to be able to mine into. So first things first, let's see if I can beat it. So I'm going to roll my d10. Nope, sorry, I'm going to roll my d12. And it's a 2, so I can't even get there with the ore. And it's going to roll d10. 7, that's somewhat disastrous for the mine. And it is going to begin tunneling from somewhere in Hilda's heart. So the bottom of Hilda's heart is 7 squares, so I'll just roll a d8 to figure out where it's going to start. 3. So it's going to start here, and to decide where it tunnels, I'm going to roll a d8 again. So on a 1 to 2 it tunnels left, so it's going to start here and go to the left. The next roll is 2 squares, 5 to 6 is down, 1, 2, the next roll is 3 squares, a 2 is to the left again, 1, 2, 3, the next roll is 4 squares, 4, so that's down, 1, 2, 3, 4, right next to that cave. Next roll, down is 5 squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1 for 6, just tunneling. It's avoiding the treasure, fortunately. And 4, it's down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the last roll as it is. Oh, second to last roll. And the last roll is downwards. All right. So that's the path of the cave worm. If I'm playing and I have a little bit more time, I'd probably use a different type of cross-hatching, maybe something a little bit more darker shades or smaller to identify where this cave worm has tunneled. But at this point, that is the path, and those squares are no longer available to mine into. Now the good news is this gives me another 10 prestige, so I'm up to 30 total prestige. The bad news is that this puts me down to mine level 4. And things are going to heat up real fast here. I only have 2 gold, which is not great, again, and my mine age goes to 9. But in turn 8, I worked mithril and found the cave worm. Alright, so we're going to move on to turn 9 and mine level 4. So the first thing I'm going to do, I believe, is I'm just going to make a ladder right from cave side. No, probably not from cave side. I'm going to make a ladder out the side of Hilda's, the hallway leading to Hilda's heart. And I'm going to push down to that treasure. Now, as I'm drawing these things, one of the things you'll notice is that I'm making a few mistakes that are, quite frankly, against the rules of the game. Don't sweat it. You know, those rules are meant to make sure that you're not taking advantage of small spaces, things like that. And that this is an illegal placement for this hallway, but it's not a big deal. All right, so I get to my treasure. My treasure was, I believe I said number 1. Yeah, I marked it here. And that means that I get 4010 gold, which is going to be very helpful this turn. So that's 13 and 15, so 28 gold. That is very helpful. So now I have 30 gold, moving into my 9th turn, and 30 prestige and a gemstone. Ooh. So 2 things I want to look at, gem cutting room and probably a sculpture room would be nice. At this point, I only have 4 population. I should add my population for this turn, so that'll bring me to 9. I'm somewhat admitting defeat. Hilda's hold is not going to last that much longer. So I'm going to make a gem cutting room first. That's a 5x5 space. Is there 5 here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, there's space here. So I'm going to make a gem cutting room here, kind of underneath cave side. And we're going to call the gem cutting room deep something. Deep shop. Sure. Because it's deep in the mountain and they're working on stuff. So that costs 6 gold. That brings me to 24. And I can pay 1 gold to turn 1 gem into 10 prestige, which I will do. I now have 40 prestige and 23 gold. Then I'm going to go to the sculpture room, which is 5x7. And this is going to have to be built way, way down. So I'm going to take a ladder from Hilda's heart. And we're going to go here. And we're going to go 5 across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 7 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sculpture rooms are large. Oops. Always got to be over here. Nope, again. Oh well. That's another illegal placement of a hallway, but playing in pen is not the smartest. I can fix it by doing this. There. All right, and we're going to call the trophy room, or it's a sculpture room, but we're just going to call it trophy room. As I imagine Hilda is creating sculptures of the different victories she has won in this mine. And you can convert any amount of ore into prestige. I might do that this turn, we'll see. And that costs 10, so that brings me down to 13 gold. And I'm also going to use the last, build the last barracks. Those will be up here. And those barracks we will call mid-school. Sure, that's like the school part of it. So mid-school for the barracks. And that costs 3. So at this point I'm down to 10 gold. I have 4 ore. I have attack die of 20, 9 population. I am going to convert all my ore into prestige. So that brings me to 44 prestige. And from there, I'm going to go into my treasure roll. See what happens. 1, great, plus 9, or plus 9, yep, is 10. So 1 mithril and 6 gold. So 16 gold. But this is the big one here. This is the combat roll. 7 plus 9 is 16, and that's what I was afraid of. That's why I used my ore. 7 plus 9 is 16. That gets me to the dragon. Now, I am using the more than a dragon, excuse me, more than a dragon optional rolls. And what that means is that I'm going to be rolling a d4, and that roll will determine which of these enemies I will face. So there's a dragon option, there's the first of the stone folk, the mother root, or the goblin invasion. And I am going to say up front that I'm going to re-roll if I roll a dragon, because I've done enough playtesting with the dragon. It is very hard to beat, and I'm happy with that. So I want to do more playtesting with these. So I rolled a 3, perfect, to the mother root. So here's how the mother root works. First of all, it has health of 2 times mine population, which I don't have a lot of health, which isn't good, but that means the mother root does not have a lot of health either, which actually could work out in the long run. The mother root is discovered at the most recently dug square and extends downwards past level 4. Let's see here. So the most recently dug square was my mid-school. It doesn't really make sense to go through a whole bunch of stuff, so we'll say the trophy room here. So the mother root was found right here and extended down, 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 way into the depths of the mountain. Once each persistent phase, the mother root calls up root walkers, up the root equal to half its remaining health. So it has 18 health. I will be seeing 9 root walkers this turn. If the root walkers are defeated, the mother root loses that much health. So root walkers attack like normal combat, and their stats are below. Okay. So they have 9 health, so that's actually going to be 9 for this turn, 1d6 attack. Alright, so what's going to happen is regular combat. I take my d20, and I roll a 12, so those root walkers will die, and they will be rolling 1d6 attack, 3. And so I lose 3 for my population down to 3, and it looks like I succeeded that time. So mother root's down to 9 health, and I am in really good shape. So from there, I'm probably only 1 turn away from finishing off the mother root, which is a good thing. I'm at 44 prestige, and I'm probably not going to lose my my mine here at all. Or my mine's not going to fall after I fight this mother root. So I think I'm going to probably, I think I want to create an ore room. I'm sorry, a war room, 8 by 8. You know what though? Now that I look at it, I don't have the space for it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. So never mind. Can't create a war room. I'm going to create a prestige room. I have 16 gold. So prestige. So a prestige room is just a room that you can build that is going to give you prestige. So the cost is going to be length times height times 2. So if it's 3 by 3, that's going to be 18 gold. So I'm probably going to want it to be 2 by 3, because that would be 2 times 3 is 6 times 2 is 12, so 12 gold. So 2 by 3. We'll throw a prestige room over here on the side. We'll make a hallway leading there from Tri-City. And we're going to call this Tri-City Trophies. Kind of hokey, but that's okay. And that's going to give me 6 2 times 3 is 6. Yep, so 6 more prestige. That gives me to 50 prestige, and I'm down to 4 gold. I'm also to 11 population, and my mine age is 10. Ooh, I forgot I have mithril still. I'll hopefully survive to that, get that next time. So moving forward to the treasure roll and combat roll. The treasure roll I do make. So that's 3 plus 10 is 13. So that's 1d20 gold and 1d4 ore. So one gold, really wonderful. So I have 5 gold and I got 2 ore. And then I do not make a combat roll because I'm in combat with this particular mother root. And I believe this might be a little too easy. The last time I played the mother root, it was much harder. I believe I meant to, yeah, I'll have to fix that. I think the attack is supposed to be equal to, no, I'll figure it out later. There's no point in pursing through it right now. So I'll roll my attack for the mother root. So I rolled a 9, perfect. Mother root has 9 health, and the mother root will roll their attack. It's a 4, meaning I will lose 4 health, so I'm back down to 7. But the mother root is then defeated, so that will give me 18 more prestige, bringing me up to 68. And I forgot to track in mine 9 and 10. Mine age 9 found, and in 10 defeated mother root. So at this point, I'm 10 rounds into the game. I have 68 prestige. I have 5 gold, 2 ore, 1 piece of mithril. My attack die is maxed out at d20. My mine level is 4, and my population is low at 7. So I'm moving on to mine age 11. Most likely I will be fighting another of these dragon or goblin invasion or something like that. So we'll see. But what I'm going to do on my turn is gain my population. So I'm up to 12. I'm going to use 5 gold to turn my 1 mithril into, I believe it's 20 prestige. Yep. So that brings me up to 88. And I'm going to also turn 2 ore into prestige. So I'm up to 90 prestige, and I'm just trying to milk it as far as I can, assuming that Hulda's hold will end soon. So move on to combat phase. Treasure roll actually first. That's 7 plus 11 is 18. 2d20 gold and 1d4 ore. Gives me 4 ore and 25 gold. Wow. At some point I'm not going to be able to do much with it. And to the combat roll. 3 plus 11 is 14. I avoided a dragon. Alright, so this is a Stonefook Brood. Oh, this might do me in. So 16 health, 1d6 attack. If a 6 is rolled, I cannot deal damage to them. So I will roll first for damage. I rolled a 7. It's no good. Or not good enough, I should say. And they roll 2. Okay, so I'm down to 10, and the Stonefolk Brood is down to 11. So I'll roll again. I rolled a 15, so that should do it for this one. And they rolled a 1. Still surviving. So in turn 11, I defeated Stonefolk Brood. And that brings me to turn 12. Now things are starting to get... I'm probably going to see another dragon next turn. So first thing I'm going to do is gain my population. So I'm up to 14. With 25 gold, I don't have a ton of space left is one of the problems that I'm running into right now. I could make tombs. I'm going to make some tombs. So cost is 1 times the length of the room, and it's got to be 2 high, 2 squares high. So I'm going to build them down here near the trophy room, and I'll make a small hallway, and I'll just build tombs right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 long, so that brings me down to 19 gold. And now I have space to start earning prestige from dead dwarves. I'll turn my 4 ore into prestige, so I'm up to 94 prestige. And I think I'll just stop there for the sake of time and move into the treasure phase. I rolled a 6 plus 12 is 18. Again, 2d20 plus 4 gold. So that's 13, 20 total gold. So I'm up to 29 and 4 ore. And my combat roll is a 17, which again brings us to a dragon or other type of monster. And it's a 1, and I will fight the dragon this round, because I have not beaten the dragon in a long time, and I'm not sure I can do it here, but I will try. So a dragon has 2 times the mine population and health, so my population is 14, so the dragon has 28 health. They also have 1d20 plus 6 attack, and they start in the lowest room of my mine, which unfortunately we'll say is the tombs, and it moves up the ladder or hallway to the closest room. So here's the dragon. I'll put a D and a little mark to show that's where the battle's taking place, and we will do 1 round of combat. So I'll roll my attack first, and that is a 16. Wow, that's bringing dragon down to 12. Is that math right? Yeah, it is. And the dragon's going to attack. I'm at 14, so this could be the end of Hula's hold. Excuse me. It's a 5 plus 6 is 11, so I'm hanging on at 3. And that's the end of the dragon's attack. So I advance to a mine age of 13. I saw a dragon last round. Now I can beat it. It's possible. But I don't think it's that probable. So I'm first going to gain my population, bringing me up to 8. I'll exchange my ore for prestige, bringing me to 98. And I have 29 gold, and I'm not quite sure. I don't have a ton of space. I'm not really willing at this point to map it out. You would just see and hear me counting squares for a while. So at this point, I think I'm just going to advance to combat again. I do get a treasure roll. Treasure is of 8 plus 13 is 21. So I do gain another mithril and 9 gold. Brings me to 38 gold and 1 mithril. So if I survive this, I do get more prestige, which would be nice. But we're attacking a dragon. So my roll is first. I rolled a 10. I kind of wish I had that ore still, but I don't. Bring the dragon down to 2. And the dragon attacks. And that's it. The dragon finishes off Hula's hold. And that brings us to the end. Hula's hold finished with 98 prestige. That's actually a fair amount. And, of course, the mine history has been recorded here. All right. So that is Dwarf Mine. That is how you play Dwarf Mine. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope it cleared up a few things. I am also 100% certain as I went through this that I made a bunch of mistakes. So please don't hesitate to either call me out on mistakes I made or just recognize that not every single thing that I did is gospel, but it certainly should help you understand how to play if you're a little lost on how to play, how the drawings work, how to mark where things are, that type of thing. Again, if you have any questions, please let me know. The best way to contact me is Twitter at PaperDiceGames. You can get this game on the website, paperdicegames.com. You'll find links in the games tab to go to the Dwarf Mine page, and you'll find out how to pay for it there. I have itch.io and DriveThruRPG are options. And I also want to just mention one thing, that if there's interest, if this game actually ends up becoming popular, I really want to do something called the Deep, where there is right now it only goes to mine level 4. I want a whole nother piece of graph paper that goes to mine level 5, where a whole bunch of other crazy, dangerous, and exciting things can happen. In my mind, I want to have a table with 100 different. Instead of rolling on a 20. For any given mine level table, it only goes up to 20. I want the deep mine level 5 to go up to 100, so it would kind of be crazy. A lot of different things can happen every round, and it would be an option instead of if you beat the first boss, I guess you could say, in mine level 4, instead of just continuing to play, you could move on down to mine level 5 and experience all the craziness happening down there. So if this is something that would interest you, and people start playing the game more and more, and people want more of the game, that's one of the next things that I have planned for it. But anyways, hopefully if you found this helpful. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And the last thing I'll say before we sign off here is Extra Life is coming up. Today is October 27th. Extra Life, I'm pretty sure, is about 2 weeks from now. It is on the Friday, November 6th. Yep, so not this coming Friday, but next Friday. So if you're at all interested, please go to paperdicegames.com, read the post about it there, and you could participate. As well as, if you donate, you get a free version of Dwarf Mine. With the thank you email that comes with your donation. And in addition to that, I added one rule that's just for the Extra Life version. It's just an optional rule that's a little bit fun. Has to do with, I'm not going to spoil it for you. So if you're interested at all, you can get a free version of Dwarf Mine if you donate to the Extra Life. Through the link on paperdicegames.com. So thanks everyone. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This has been Game Night, Paper Dice Games Night.